I'm Tom.
And I'm Zeus.
And we're from Shout It Out Loudcast.
And this is Gene Simmons from Kiss.
And this is Ace Frehley. And when we want to listen to anything about football, music, Kiss, wrestling, country music, and more, we go to On The Flythe.
With Stevie Flythe and Jason Worden. Check them out. Oh, yeah.
You are listening to On The Fly.
What's up, guys? On the Fly, back here. Worden, it's not Halloween yet. Take your mask off.
Dude, it's a year-round. It's a year-round treasure, dude. To look at my beauty, man. Come on.
Never mind. So, guys, we are back again this week. We decided to go to live this week. It's right before Halloween. I am just not in a Halloween mood this year. I mean, I'm Debbie Downer. Saturday Night Live.
You're like the Grinch that stole the Reese's peanut butter cup, Stevie. You're like the Grinch.
Reese's Pieces, like E.T. So
those are good too, man.
I like
anything with any. I love anything with peanut butter, dude. Peanut butter.
I'm not a peanut butter fan, but for some reason I guess the chocolate and peanut butter together.
Remember those commercials? Oh, your chocolate got my peanut butter. No, your peanut butter got my chocolate.
Yeah, and I was always, with peanut butter, I was scared to try it. Because I was like, but once I tried it, I was like, this isn't bad. Anyway, before we get sidetracked off that.
What's your favorite brand, Stevie? Why, thank you, Jay.
We're
extra crunchy is the best. That's my opinion.
I can't do that.
You don't have any teeth. That's why, man. Come on. That's your false teeth you got in, man. You can use your false teeth.
No. First of all, tonight, this is going to be kind of a Halloween-themed episode. Warden's going to kind of take the lead because I'm not big on the horror or I'm going to throw my little stuff I'll remember about Halloween or I love about Halloween.
I get scared. I'm Stevie, and I get scared. Turn the light back on.
I don't get scared. I could tell you a story about my brother about being scared now. I could tell you a story about that. And we will talk about that, I think, before tonight's over with. I'm going to embarrass him because I know he's not watching.
Hey, what are brothers for, man? Just not embarrass them. Come on, man.
Exactly. But tonight we're going to talk a little bit about Halloween stuff, and like I said, there's some Halloween traditions or stuff I remember about Halloween's when I was a kid, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But we've got some news, some rock news that we actually talked about last week, and it came to fruition this week. The rumors were going around. And
he was in my top 10 list, but I don't think he was in your Joe's.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. But probably the MVP of Motley Crue.
Oh, definitely.
Mick Mars.
Nikki Sixx together.
Yeah, the other two, they're kind of off.
Yeah, they're replaceable.
Yeah, they have been replaced. Both of them have been replaced before. Nikki Sixx and Mick Mars haven't been replaced before.
They miss Tommy a lot more than Vince, in my opinion.
So what we're talking about here, Mick Mars has decided to retire from touring with Motley Crue, like we had talked about before, and they're going to replace him with John 5, like we talked about.
John 5's good though, but
nothing against John 5. But let me tell you this:
it's a different style, though.
It's time. This is the perfect opportunity to say, okay, we had one last big bang on the stadium tour. Let's hang it up, because guess what? That guy over there sounds terrible. It's
Which
not
one?
going to. You know what I'm talking about. The abominable Vince.
And you kind of think about how bad a shape Mick is, and I mean, he can still shred, dude.
Mick, look.
And there is no, but honestly, Vince has never been a great singer, even only in the studio. Like, you listen to the old stuff, but man, I didn't think it'd get worse, man. It's worse.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's very bad.
It's bad. I mean, I just don't. This is something that never came up, talked about the whole time on tour. Was mixed guitar work is suffering. It was not suffering, and that's not why he's retiring. It's health issues.
Yeah, he can't do it.
He can't do it anymore. The rigors of doing it. I'm surprised he actually.
He's the oldest. He's almost 70,
he's the
right?
oldest. He's a lot older than the other guys, from what if I remember right.
I mean, he's got 8 years on. I think Nicky's the next one, and he's got about 8 years on. Nicky's in his 60s, so he's probably about pushing 70.
Yeah, because he was always like the elder statesman of the group. He had been in groups before.
Long time ago a long time ago.
71.
Really?
Yes.
Isn't that amazing how we were talking about genetics before, about like, some people have it and some don't. I mean, you look at somebody like Rod Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
He's 73 and he looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, and that guy wasn't a teetotaler. He drank.
But Mick Mars has that condition.
I think it's the joints starting to lose the cartridge or something like that.
Yeah,
that's like no
pretty
cure.
much turns. Let's see if I can pronounce this. Ankylosing spondylitis, a chronic inflammatory form of arthritis that mainly affects the spine and the pelvis. And he was diagnosed when he was 17, and has increasingly impaired his movement and causing pain.
Talk about two things as a guitar player you need: your spine and your pelvis.
It said over the years, the illness has caused the lower spine to seize up and freeze completely solid, causing scoliosis in back and squashing him further down and forward until he was a full 3 inches shorter than he was in high school.
That's crazy.
I mean, what the heck is this?
We're live, Stevie. Don't let the audience down.
But, I mean, hang it up. I know you got this big overseas tour going.
So is he doing the overseas tour, or is this after? He's done after that. He's done now.
And you notice it said touring. He is retired from touring.
So there's going to be more tours after this.
No, he said retiring from touring.
No, Motley's going to be doing more touring after this.
But that leads me to believe, is Motley going to record some new music?
Nobody's going to buy it.
It didn't say he retired from the band, like the band. He just said he retired from touring. Let me make sure I'm reading this right.
That's kind of what Kiss said, right? That they're not going to enter the road.
They're not going to tour.
But the tour's never going to end.
He is continuing as a member of the band, but no longer touring with the band. So what does that tell you?
Money, money, money.
That tells me that Motley's going to do new music. I would think. I mean, wouldn't you gather that from if he's not okay? If we're going to be a touring band, and he is retired from touring, just from touring, wouldn't he just say, "Well, he's retired from"?
I thought that too. I read that
too. He's just going to remain a member.
But it didn't say he's retiring from music. Maybe there were rumors that he was doing a solo album, I think with John Corabi, but that never came to fruition. So maybe he's doing something with Corabi, and they're not going to, they won't tour or nothing. Or he could be leaving Motley and he's going to do something else with Corabi. Who knows? Or something on his own and just make albums and not tour.
Let me see. I'm going to read a little bit further down here. It just says the statement further clarified that Mick will continue as a member of the band, but can no longer handle the rigors of the road.
So then that's okay. Gotcha. So it sounds like they're going to tour. They're going to do another album.
It sounds like they're going to do another album. Yeah. They're going to do the tour with Def Leppard. I guarantee they come back with new music after that tour. And the studio will do wonders.
Does the world really need more Motley Crue music?
Well, I'm not going to, I'm tired of the argument that some of these people have that nobody wants to hear the bands from back then do new music. No,
nobody does, Stevie. Nobody does.
Well, is that why Stryper's #1 on the album charts right now?
The Billboard album charts or the rock charts?
The rock charts.
Not the Billboard Top 100. That don't mean anything anymore.
The rock, yeah, but still.
Yeah, but that's their fans, though. That's like Kiss getting a top 10 album. It's their fans that buy that.
Obviously, people want to hear it. You still have fans out there that want to hear it. Give me a break. I mean,
Well, I never
Stanley,
wanted to hear Striper in the first place, so
You're like
good for
sinking
them.
Stanley. Are you like sinking Stanley over there?
No, you're like the one that's
Really?
still like you're the one on the Halloween spirit. I mean, I never
No,
liked
I'm
Striper,
in
so
the
that's not a
Halloween
good
spirit.
example.
I'm just not a big
Hell,
Halloween.
Journey with they're a cover band according to a lot of people. They're selling out stadiums. So what do I know? I don't know.
Exactly, but they're not doing new music. They did new music, and there's the last one they did. Journey did. I was disappointed in, but
Yeah, me too. I like all of them.
you didn't even listen to it.
Man, I've been disappointed in all of them, Stevie. I'm with you.
Shut up. So,
Can you imagine if Journey and Striper toured together? You talk about
I'd buy you a front row.
You talk about a
seat.
can miss show. Ugh.
Hey, look, let me tell you,
I
went
never
through Striper.
liked Striper because they were so. I know, like I said, I grew up real religious, so it's like I don't want to hear more preaching. I want to hear, let's put the X in sex, or it's not love. I would put Dawkins above Striper. Okay, how's that?
Okay.
And I'm not a big Dawkins fan, as you know. So.
I know you're not a doctor. You're not. Look, you're just like have no taste in music, evidently, except Kiss.
Well, how I met you, man. I mean, I know a lot of our artists match, so that says about you too, bro. So
if you don't like Dawkins, you don't like.
It's not that I don't like Dawkins. They're not one of my favorites. Their production.
That isn't what you just said.
Their production. No, I said Lynch Mob is better. Lynch Mob is better, in my opinion. But their production is weak. Like on some of those songs, it's just paper thin. Kind of like the Open Up and Say All album before they remixed it. That was just paper thin production. And I think that's a lot of it. Like It's Not Love, it's not like that. Or In My Dreams, that's big fat production. Those are great songs, but some of them are just like so paper thin. And I never liked Striper, so it wasn't my deal. I mean, they're obviously good. They're still around, but
yeah. They put on a good show. I went to see them at the local theater here. They were. Do
they still throw out Bibles and stuff?
They didn't throw out Bibles that night. They didn't throw out Bibles.
Those Bibles pretty thick. It might hurt somebody. It's like I'm suing. Like when Rod Stewart got sued for kicking the soccer ball. Was it Michael Sweet? He threw a Bible at me, man. I'm suing.
Well, that's probably what they're thinking this day and time. That if
I got dragged to a Striper concert and I get hit by a Bible, I would sue. Not just for the Bible, but just for having to be there.
You get dragged. I like how he said he would get dragged.
I'd be dragged because there'd probably be some chick involved. Oh, they're great. Whatever.
Lord have mercy. Just when I think you can't get any lower.
That's why you love me, Stevie. That's why you love me. We're brothers in arms, like Dire Straits.
Ugh.
You don't like Dire Straits? Oh, dude.
No.
Wow. Yeah, you're just
not a big Dire Straits fan.
Dire Straits is awesome, dude.
If I hear Money for Nothing after having to hear all of that through the freaking 80s, it was a good song. It's like fatigue.
That's how I feel about Journey. That's the same way I feel about Journey.
Okay then. Well, I'm right then. You agree I'm right.
You're right about what?
About fatigue with Money for Nothing.
Yeah, and every Journey song I'm fatigued with.
Every Journey song is not
pretty
fatigued.
much.
I can see.
They play it on the Any Way You Want It. I mean, they suck.
That's not
Journey
fatigued.
sucks.
You can't. You could if I wasn't a Journey fan, I could see where Don't Stop Believing would get fatigued because that gets played a lot.
I told you they have like 3 good songs. 2 of them are Steve Perry's and one's I'll Be All Right Without You. That's it.
That was Steve Perry.
No, that was a Journey. No, I'm talking about his solo stuff.
Oh,
you're talking. I'm just busting your balls about it.
I
don't. They're not one of my favorites.
No shit.
And I just people like I have talked to my friends and they're like, yes, I have friends, and they're like, how is a cover band selling out arenas? People are still hungry for live music. That's why the Kisses, the Motleys.
That's how you're saying. Isn't that pretty much what Kisses is?
That's Kiss and. That's Kisses and what Motley's does, man. You think Motley's looking at Kiss example? Well, they retired. We can come back too. Although Kiss didn't sign a contract like they did.
Or you see the first week of the Kiss cruise is just about over now, but now you got week 2. Did you see Paul Stanley's little comments on the Sail Away when they did the little Sail Away show?
I haven't paid attention.
He had up there, oh yeah, we're not playing this. This is taped and all this. He's still capping on and if they really want to talk about it, Paul, yeah, you are doing background vocals with it. It's not really us singing.
Maybe not on the cruise, but
they can't. Well, they could do it, but he wasn't doing it that show.
I saw something about the cruise that like next year Kiss isn't going to play. They're going to play the send-off show, but it's going to be Gene's band, which is probably a must-see. Soul Station. I mean, it's like Kiss isn't even going to play. Why go on a Kiss cruise if Kiss isn't going to play? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they pretty much.
Do they not like each other to even? I mean, it's like Rod Stewart announced he's going to retire from touring, but he's still going to play Vegas. He's still going to play his rock hits in Vegas. Why can't Kiss just play like Vegas or play the tour? The Kiss. I mean, I got to think that that's like not a good selling point for that. I mean, I love Paul Stanley. I'm a Paul Stanley guy, but I am not into Soul Station. That is not my thing, and I don't think a lot of Kiss fans are either.
Not mine either. But that's what Paul wants to do right now. I mean,
yeah, but would you go on a Kiss cruise if Kiss isn't headlining? I mean, you might as well call it like a Monsters of Rock Part 3 or something. It's not a Kiss cruise if they're not on there playing.
You know, they're just trying to throw their spin on it. There will be Kiss people there, but they're not going to be playing together.
Yeah, I see that Gene's playing, and honestly, I'd like to see Gene solo stuff. And
I'm sure they'll have Bruce's band up there again. They always want to put.
But
Bruce
why don't they just not put the makeup on and play like with Bruce? You know,
that's
what I try to drag Vinny out.
Here's the thing: what if do they really? If they would like to say, not have Tommy play, but bring Bruce in there, I guess they could say technically that isn't we are not Kiss right now. You know what I mean?
Honestly, if that happened, I would consider going.
The Revenge era, yeah.
Yes, because that's my favorite era. Asylum up to the Revenge era.
Yeah, so that would be something, but I don't think.
But they're not going to do that because Paul can't sing those songs anymore.
He's got backing tapes. He can play the backing tapes though.
I'm sorry, I've seen them 3 times on this tour, and they're using backing tapes. They're not getting their money's worth.
No. Yeah, well, the thing is though. They can't make it look too obvious.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, they did when Eric Singer missed that drum thing. That was right there.
No, I'm talking about if they had really, really good backing tapes and you'd be like, oh, God, Paul's voice has got so much better. And then you hear him in the sound
1990
check.
all over again.
Then you hear him in the sound check and it's like, what? What does he do before?
But, you know, you talk about all those people not wanting, you know, old artists not wanting new music. I mean, people don't care. I don't. It's Kiss. It's my band. I don't care.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't hurt my feelings if they didn't do any new music after hearing Monster and Sonic Boom. But, you know, I'm not just talking about Kiss. I'm talking about like, you know, the artists back from the day. If they're going to tour, put out some new music. You don't. And look, they can do it like some of these bands do. Put one song out at a time. Just release a single, and then go from there.
I don't know if it's worth it to the record companies and to the band because they don't make any money. It's all about money for them.
What Kiss with now anyway? Do we even know?
Aren't they
still with Universal? Because they haven't put out an album. When was Monster out?
God, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
2013?
So don't you think if they were signed with a record company, the record company were like, okay, we need an album. So they might not.
They might not be.
If they could put it out, here's the thing. If they could put out just do like a single, put it out a little bit at a time, and then add some more onto it. They could put their own album out. You know, some bands
do just make it available on streaming. Just make it a streaming.
Exactly.
Thing.
I mean,
but they don't. And I know Kiss. They're not going to put their effort in anything that they don't make any money off of. Case in point, they played Austin about 45 minutes away from me this past weekend for probably about 100 people in a club for Philip J. Morris, which is like a tobacco company.
Yeah.
And, you know, we always hear we don't encourage smoking. You know, smoking is bad. Don't smoke.
Yeah, if the money's
and
right.
I remember, and people are giving them shit for that. It's like, well, they can play what they want to. I mean, yeah, it's Philip Morris and whatever. It's their choice. But I remember Gene talking about like he didn't like smoking, but what did Kiss sell? Zippo lighters. I had one when I smoked. So there you go. There you go.
Kiss sold anything they could.
That's why I don't think that they're. I mean, I know you said besides Kiss, but I don't think they'll do anything new because they don't make any money off it. It looks like Gene kind of wants to, but Paul's kind of against it. So maybe Gene will do something.
Gene will definitely. If Paul gives him the okay, yeah, Gene will put Kiss's logo.
No, I'll talk about solo stuff. Like he just got that vault full of crap. He's probably got more stored away. He'll probably just do some songs like that.
Let me tell you, if I have to hear My Uncle is a Wrath Part 2, I will just pass from that. That's why the vault thing, Gene's got some good Kiss songs, but pre-Kiss,
Yeah.
oh no.
I thought it was pretty
Wrath.
cool what he did. That he charged you $1,000 for the box set, and he did a performance.
to
I
your
thought that
house.
was pretty cool. Yeah, I'd come to your house or close by. I thought that was pretty cool. If I had $1,000, I'd probably get it, but I didn't have $1,000.
And look, he brought Ace with him to some
Ace
place.
and Peter. Peter played like a show with him too,
Yeah.
like one time.
So
That's why
Vinny played with him.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, Vinny played with him. So
Paul didn't know.
yeah, Paul never came.
I think Bruce did too. So everybody but Paul. Eric, and I don't know.
I don't think Eric Singer ever went, but I mean,
he's too busy with Soul Station.
he's got his watch collection.
You're mine, bitch. You're gonna be in my band.
Well, you remember, I guess Paul got first dibs on him since he did that solo tour with him, what, in 88, 87?
That's so funny. I remember when he joined the band, and I remember my friends were like,
he's blonde.
yeah, exactly. I'm like,
Knew it.
that doesn't matter. Because I remember that one of the big rumors was that guy from White Lion who would have been perfect looking for Kiss. The drummer for White Lion was going to.
Oh, yeah. And
I go, what do you say that? Well, he's got the look. I go, can the guy play? I mean, obviously he can, but.
Well, I guess the look was more important, but Singer fit in pretty good, I think.
Yeah,
Good Singer did a
Singer's
good
great.
job.
I think Eric Singer's great.
He's not going to match up to Eric Carr in my
He's
mind.
Kiss's best drummer ever. Yes, he is. He's Kiss's best drummer ever.
I'm going to forget I heard that because that
he is.
That's a false
Nothing
statement.
against
right
Eric
there.
Carr, but Eric Carr didn't. I mean, I think
Oh,
I think it's like I say that because of longevity. That's a big word.
Longevity. I
Yes.
mean, what is longevity? I mean,
That's
okay.
what puts the Stones over the Beatles, in my opinion. Longevity. Longevity is a big
I'm
factor.
a-
That's my opinion, Stevie.
That's your opinion.
Not everybody's
You're
wrong
entitled
according to
it.
you,
Just like
okay?
you got one, just like your butthole. You got one, but
Not according to like Aaron Rodgers. You see that one I sent you today?
Aaron Rodgers, get real. Aaron Rodgers is blaming
That meme was true though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If you know the meme we're talking about, you've seen it on
Yes.
Facebook.
Yes, but yeah, I'm not going with the whole longevity thing. Eric Carr,
But that's me though.
in the time he was there, and granted it wasn't. Look at what he put out while he was there. What does Singer put out while he was there?
Revenge. I rest my
Revenge.
case. Carnival of Souls.
Creatures.
No, I put Revenge
Lick
is
It
their
Up.
best. Revenge is their best album outside of
Asylum.
Makeup. Crazy Nights.
Animal
Kinda
Life, Crazy Nights, Hot.
I know,
I mean,
but I think Revenge
you
is better.
got-
I
you
think
did that
Revenge
body of
is the
work.
best. Revenge is their best
hey,
out of
you
Makeup.
made me leave out the Elder. I mean,
Oh,
come on.
God. He should be disqualified just for that.
Well, you want to talk about Carnival of
wreck.
Souls? Everybody says that's.
Carnival of Souls is better than The Elder.
I agree. I will agree with
Hey,
that.
we agree on that thing.
But
Hey,
yeah.
let's get off the Kiss thing, dude. 'cause
he's
we
more.
really
He did more of an impact.
save
He
that
had
for
more of
next
an
week because
impact.
we got something coming up great next week.
Yes, we got something coming up next week. So moving on.
Let me ask you about next week.
Yes.
Is that your choice? What you got, or did you want my choice?
Either one's fine with me.
Okay.
Either one's fine with me. I mean,
I think I may
yours,
win. I think
yours will
I think I
probably
may win
it.
this one.
Yeah, I think yours will win. But
Yeah, like you won with the heart thing. So
yeah. So yeah, if you haven't guessed what we're talking about now, next week we'll have album wars, and it's going to be a Kiss theme next week.
no,
We're not going to tell you which two albums are going up against each other. We'll announce that later, or first of next
Stevie
week.
just mentioned them a while ago. If that's a clue though.
Yeah, it's not two non-makeup albums. So
Well, not the '70s makeup anymore.
I gave
The L'Oreal
Worden,
makeup maybe, but not that.
I gave Worden first choice this time. So since I took the obviously better Heart album last time, but we'll see. We've got some more stuff coming up on the fly, and we've got some big shows coming up that we're working on. We've just got to get them narrowed down to a date. Something for everybody, you might, if you're a big classic video game person, then keep your ears open. We're going to have a special guest on in the next few weeks, and we'll talk about that as well. Moving on, you wanted to talk about some books.
Oh yeah,
It's library hour.
It's library hour with Worden. Come sit on my lap, Stevie. Let me read you a story.
Let
me read you a story.
No.
Who wants to be lonely? Just kidding.
Easy.
I'm a big Audible fan. I'm old now and I don't like to read. I used to love reading when I could see better, but I like Audible. And I just recently, the membership's like $14, but you get a book. It's like $14 a month. Well, I got kind of burned out because I've been, I listened to Rod Stewart. I listened to Scotty and a bunch of them, Dave Mustaine's book. And they canceled my subscription. And they were like, "Oh, well, we want you back. We'll give you the same 6 months for $5.95 a month." I'm like, okay. So I signed up there, and I really like books that are read by the author. Like Paul's was read by him. I tried the Steven Tyler one time, but it was so outrageous. I mean, if Tyler would have read it, it would have been believable. But this guy just
yeah.
Joe Perry's
you imagine
book
that?
Joe's Perry book was great. Keith Richards, I'm still trying to figure out. It's like Johnny Depp narrated. He ain't much better than Keith Richards. But I just, I may lose some rock points by this, but the guy that I read the book on, he married a couple babes in my, Stevie will probably agree with me on that. Richard Marx, he's got a book, came out back around it. The end of it, he was talking about COVID just broke out. So it was around 2020, 21. But he talked about it, he read it, and he talked about how he came, and his dad was a jingle writer. Like he would write jingles for commercials, and he was like a jazz musician. So his dad was in there. And so he didn't go to college and nothing like that. He knew he wanted to be a songwriter and a musician. Well, a mutual friend of his introduced him to Lionel Richie. And then that came up. He wrote some stuff with Lionel Richie and then Kenny Rogers. And it kind of talks, he did all this stuff kind of before he became, with his band. But my first two CDs I ever bought were Repeat Offender in 1984 by Van Halen. So it's always been up there. But he's worked with Barbra Streisand. He worked with Olivia Newton-John. He's worked with Whitney Houston, NSYNC. There's a funny story that he was working with NSYNC, and all these teenage girls were just like waiting for him and stuff. And he was already older and stuff. It's like in the 90s. And so he's walking out, and of course the girls just, "Hey, have you seen Justin?" And all that stuff. So he's walking through the car, and he said this like stunning 22-year-old girl came up to him. "Excuse me, sir, are you Richard Marx?" And he's thinking, "Hey, I still got," kind of like, "Hey," ego and stuff. And he goes, "Yeah, I am." And she goes, "My mom loves you." And he's like, wow. But he talks about, he met Cynthia Rhodes, which was the girl. I don't know if you've seen Staying Alive.
Yeah.
She was a real pretty blonde that Travolta kept dissing.
Wasn't she on Dirty Dancing?
Yeah. And she was also in Runaway with Gene. I forgot about that. She was supposed to do that solo that I guess she eventually did with Frank Stallone. That's a great soundtrack, by the way. I love that soundtrack. It's cheesy as hell, but I love that movie and soundtrack. That he did that song. It was something about her and Frank Stallone, but it was supposed to be Travolta. He wrote that song, and that's how he met her. And she was like 7 years older than him. They had like 3 kids, and he eventually married Daisy Fuentes. But in the book, he doesn't trash talk her. He doesn't say anything bad. He goes, "What happens between us?" It wasn't as juicy as some of the tell-alls like Peter Criss, but it was a real classy. And he's wrote songs with Keith Urban. I mean, he's toured with. There's a band that they were like a one-hit wonder, Emerson Drive. You remember them?
Yeah, I do remember.
They had that big hit. He wrote that song, and they got dropped by DreamWorks, and he couldn't figure out why, because that was the height of that kind of pop country music. But he worked with Shadazy. I mean, some of those early 90 bands.
Oh, yeah, I love for Shadazy now.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, he's known for his, I knew he was a songwriter, but I didn't know how deep it went. But if you want to kind of find out if you're a fan of them guy or not, he had a funny joke where he had to get both hips replaced. And he says, "Well, that's the first time hip and my name have been in the same sentence." I thought that was pretty funny. But I just finished that today. So what I'm excited about next is Brian Johnson. His just came out and he reads it. That's going to be kind of hard to understand. I'm talking like a pirate. But
hokey pokey.
He's already there's been excerpts about it, about how much Bon Scott was involved with the Black and Black. I read a long time ago that they already had the music written and he come back and write the words. I would think that's harder to do, but I'm not a musician, so what do I know?
Right.
But I'll give a review of that in a.
So you think it's harder to write the lyrics
to a song? Because I always thought with the song you would get the lyrics and you would kind of have a melody after that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not a musician, so what do I know? And that's story time with Worden.
That's
Back to you,
library.
Stevie.
Library hour is over. So
I don't have my pajamas on like the Kiss Grooves or whatever.
oh my God, no! Please do not.
Do people wear pajamas still? Not the 20s, right?
The only time people wear pajamas now is probably at Christmas time with it, and it's probably just if they have that tradition. Unless you're on the Kiss Cruise and they have, don't they have like the bedtime stories up there with some?
But I used to get pajamas as a kid, but I never saw the point of getting because it's just hot. I just, sleep in my underwear. That's it.
We used to get. That's the oh God, jeez. Ugh.
You're dreaming about that, Steve. Come on over here, man. Let me read you a bedtime story.
Christmas Eve every year we used to get pajamas. When I was a kid, and because they would let us open one present that Christmas Eve night before we went to bed, and you always knew it's going to be pajamas. So,
and you graduate when you get older. It's a tie.
Yeah, pretty much. But so yeah, that's the only time really pajamas came into play.
But was the hat really necessary? I mean, I get the rest of the clothes, but did you really?
I didn't get it. We didn't ever get anything like hats.
But you see them with hats, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
They didn't really need a hat.
No, I don't. I mean, that's going to come off.
But that's kind of like the Mad Men era from the 60s, 50s, and 60s. Everybody wore
all the men wore
hats.
A lot of that probably had to do with people that because not back then you didn't have all your like central heat and all this stuff. And
that's true.
I remember at my grandparents' house, they had 2 rooms that they kept heat in. This was a 2-story house. It was 2 rooms they kept heat in. It was the kitchen and the living room. And once you in the wintertime, man, if you stayed up there, like we'd have Christmas Eve there. And once you stepped out into the hallway to go downstairs, to leave, dude, it was like going from 80 to like 30. It just like that. And when you went to bed, if you spent the night up there, when you went to bed, they had those, and they don't make quilts like they used to back then. I don't know what they got in them now, but they'd have like 2 quilts over you. Yeah. Man, you as cold as it was, I broke out many a sweat. And then when I tried to take the blanket off, the sweat would start freezing to me. So I mean,
I lived in Missouri as a kid, so I remember those days. We had an old house and didn't have central or and it was like wood burning stove, and it's like you'd wake up in the morning, it's cold as
yes. But I remember in the summer at our house, we had a window unit, one window unit in the house.
Yeah, I remember those.
And my dad would cut it on when he got home and cut it off right before we went to bed. And he was like, okay, if you want to get your pillow cold, you better go do it now before you go to bed. And I'm like, okay. So
wow.
Cool it on the other side of the pillow.
You do that do you continue that trend, Stevie?
No.
I didn't think. Tell Mallory, hey, you better get your pillow cool.
They're too, but
that's a different generation.
It's a different generation. I got to thinking about it the other night, and I was like,
grew up in the Depression, man. That when it was really, or not if your dad's that old.
How did we do it back then? How did we do it back then? We survived with fans, just fans, and for 4 hours, air conditioner.
I remember cars back in the 70s. They didn't have air conditioner. They had AM radio and no air conditioner. You talk about
you had to put an FM converter in cars. Yeah.
And then I remember one time when I was a little kid, I was thinking how much life sucked. It was hot as hell. And I went to McDonald's and they gave my hamburger. It had a pickle and a little bit of ketchup between a bun. It was like, God, this just sucks.
And it was the greatest thing in the world. I go back to
it wasn't that, it was McDonald's.
That ain't no McDonald's.
McDonald's. No. All right, man.
All right, moving on. So let's get right down to the nitty gritty. We're 5 days away from Halloween.
It's on a Monday, right now. Wow.
Yeah, it's on a Monday. Monday night will be Halloween. So if you don't want to get trick or treaters,
turn off your lights.
Turn your lights off. And I've had some when we lived in our old house. I got so mad one night.
Damn, Stevie, you're just a big fan of Halloween. I can see why now.
No, I didn't have
get off my lawn.
Look, I had the lights on. We were taking trick-or-treaters. But when a kid comes up to the door and starts peeking his head inside, like half of his body was inside my house. I'm like, dude, you need to back up now.
He's scouting it out for his parents to come rip you off. You know that, right?
Exactly. I was like, you need to back off now, bud. And and then the kids that are like 18 or 19 or go trick or treat don't even.
Those aren't kids. Those aren't kids.
No, then they come up to your door trick or treat, and I'm like, really, dude?
I think
what
I
do you
quit
dress up like?
I think I quit trick or treating at like 8 or 9.
I went till I was like 11 or 12, something like that. But then after that,
puberty hit. It's like, nah, no more.
Yeah, after that we were like, no, we're not doing this anymore. But yeah, back then, man, that was like one of the highlights of the year was what Halloween costume you're going to get this year. And let me tell you, we had the Kiss Halloween costumes. We had them all. I wore Ace more than any of them. I wore Ace to school.
No.
We had a Halloween day at school, and I told my mom, I'm wearing Ace every year. Halloween day, wearing Ace.
Hey, what do you think was the least selling costume? Probably Peter.
Probably so.
I remember one time.
Do you think so?
Somebody saying about Peter Criss, like, not even Peter Criss wanted to be Peter Criss.
That Family Guy.
Yeah, was it that?
Yeah, it was Family Guy.
And they weren't even in the band. They weren't in the band anymore, were they?
No.
That's messed up. Yeah.
But
poor Peter.
Yeah. Peter's a good guy.
Bucko,
Peter,
or what do you call him?
Peter's been through a lot, man.
He's bitter as hell, though, in that book. Woo.
Yeah,
they say Paul's salty. Woo. You know why Peter and Paul hate each other? Because they're the same type of person.
The same people, yeah. Yep. The same people.
And they used to be like the closest. Like I used to read like in the
I think it was
days, they were close.
Gene and Peter were closer than anybody.
No, because
because
Peter and Paul used to room together, and then something happened where they
after the Hotter Than Hell.
Probably grabbing his ass like that. Probably,
We both were thinking the same thing. After the Hotter Than Hell photo shoot.
One of the most iconic pictures of Kiss history, and it's not that there's anything wrong with that.
Well, it's all in what you decide to do. Not me, but it's all in what you decide.
He is the lover. He didn't say to the women. He said to my lovers in the Kiss Alive notes. So,
oh my gosh.
I'm a Paul guy, so, hey.
Anyway, let's talk a little bit of Halloween. What you got up there? Talk a little bit about
I just kind of got a list of some of my favorite, like, kind of documentaries and some of my favorite genre of movies and, like, my Halloween. I'll kind of start out with some documentaries that documentaries, aka kind of campy movies. Talk about them. I don't know if you ever heard any of these. One of the famous ones from the 70s. I like to kind of watch these, and you find them like Tubi and like YouTube or whatever. But it's not a ghost story or it's a horror movie if it really happened and you live there. It's called The Legend of Boggy Creek. It takes place in the Bayou down in Louisiana, which if you've ever seen like swamp people and stuff where they live back there in the back like that, hunt alligators, that's what it is. And I think it's more of a parody type thing. It shows, I mean, it's everything, every folklore has like a bit of the truth. So, I mean, it's like a swamp creature. They call them the skunk ape, I think, down in Florida and there, Bigfoot. And you just got to check it out. I mean, you talk about hillbilly. I mean, it's redneck hillbilly white. I mean, but that's who it's like swamp people. But the funniest part on it, and this is why I don't think it's real, is because this guy's in the bathroom, he's taking a dump. And of course, he got the window open behind him. He's there taking a dump. Freaking Bigfoot reaches to grab him. Scares the shit out of him. And he's like, holy shit. It's gotta, that can't be, it's supposed to be like a documentary. Like, how they were in this is like in the early, like 1970s. So it was probably Blair Witch before Blair Witch, but
yeah,
that is one of the funniest. I mean, that makes me laugh every time I see it. But yeah, if you like the Bigfoot thing and kind of Legend of Boggy Creek, it was a big hit in the 70s. And I think there was a couple, it was like, I'm not a big slasher movie, like the Grindhouse. We talked about that. So I kind of wanted to have a little list of like, not that so much, but kind of what I like to watch and kind of some of my favorite stuff. And keeping up with that, there's another one after that. It's about Bigfoot, and it's Chris Jericho had this guy on his show, and he talked about it. It's on Hulu. It's called Murder Mountain. It's about evidently they used to make meth, or they probably still do, up in meth or drugs or whatever. And it's about how these people were found slaughtered. These drug dealers were found slaughtered, and they tried to put this story out about it was a Bigfoot that like killed them. And they had all these people, you know, all these people, and it starts out as a serious it's a serious documentary. And, you know, they go through it and they talk to a few people, and people swear by it. Oh, no, that's Sasquatch. That's what I saw. But they dig deeper into it, and the ending's a little bit disappointing. I mean, you've asked me because, you know, but it's a good documentary if you like Bigfoot and stuff like that. But I like ghost stories and Bigfoot. So, of course, speaking of ghost stories, I would recommend a podcast by my ex TV guys, the Klinge brothers is what you call them, Stevie?
Klinge.
The Klinge brothers, Brad and Barry. They got a YouTube podcast called The Investigators, and they talk about some of the investigations they've done. Would always, you know, hint Ghost Lab if you want a good series that's different than Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters. Check out Ghost Lab. And I'll mention the Klinge brothers on one other thing on documentary. They did something after Ghost Lab, and it's on Amazon Prime Video. It's called Strange Curiosity, and they delve into like John Wayne Gacy and like serial killers, the black-eyed children. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Stevie.
Not that.
Supposedly, like they'll knock on your door, or ring on the door, and they want in, and they have no eyes or black eye, and you're supposed to let them in. And they have people on there, of course, you know, priests and stuff say, oh, it's Satan and all this stuff. And there's accounts of people disappearing. I don't know. But it's called Strange Curiosity. They did one thing at this place in Yoakum, Texas, which is about, a couple hours from here. It's an old, used to be a hospital run by nuns. And a lady was shot there by her ex. She broke up with him, and he killed her on there. But the Klinge brothers too. Brad and Barry were doing investigations. So we all went out there. My buddy Hector, his son, and we were out there. We like had a group of people investigating that place. Like it's an old rundown. I think the city finally condemned it, but that thing had a lot of activity. And I think we mentioned this on our podcast with Brad and Barry that they got a perfect shadow, like a silhouette of like a nun's garb.
Oh yeah,
there, and you didn't see, and you didn't see it stand. It was like didn't see any feet or nothing. Of course, it's floating, and of course we post that. Oh my God, that's fake, and people always want to be a critic and stuff, but they got some stuff on John Wayne Gacy. We did an event there where I dressed up like John Wayne Gacy, fat white guy, so I fit. So I ran around the theater scaring the shit out of people. It was great. But kind of like some of the demonic stuff. I mean, he was definitely demonic if you believe in serial killers. You like serial killer stuff, I'd recommend Strange Curiosity. And it's like about 6 episodes, and I think it's like the whole thing's like 6 or 7, maybe $10 for the season. But that was a great series that I kind of wish that would have been picked up because, I mean, I got kind of burned out on the whole ghost thing, so it was cool to like investigate other stuff. And they talk about that on their Investigators podcast.
Talking about them, when I went live last Wednesday, like for an update, I don't know if you saw or not, but one of them, I think it was Barry, came in the comments and asked him where you were at. And I said, well, he didn't know I was going to do this. I kind of did this spur of the moment just to update people. Yeah. And I was trying to plug, some of their stuff. And he was like, we're on the verge of signing a deal with a major podcast company.
Yeah, so, they are. Yeah. I wish them luck because I listened to their, they've been nothing. I mean, I kept in contact with them. Brad just said, Brad was my old boss, his brother, and he just went through some like major surgery, and I haven't talked to him in a while. I texted him and say how I was doing. He's like, hey man, I appreciate you checking on me. It's like, well, I have my moments, but wish Brad a speedy recovery. Their show's great because they have different people on there. They got some mediums on there. They worked with Chip Coffey. I don't know if you ever heard of him. They worked with this guy. His name was Houdini, and he was like the grandson of Harry Houdini. Yeah, he's a psychic. He was on that Psychic Kids and stuff on A&E.
Okay.
They're buddies with Jason Hawes from Ghost Hunters. They're doing some events. I mean, the show's been off the air for a while, but man, they still pack them in. People still love the paranormal stuff, and and it's like I said, I some stuff would have probably happened for us with that show if it wasn't for COVID because they're always out there, so I can see them signing something. Yeah, because they got the fan base for it. I mean, and we were in Vicksburg, Pennsylvania one time. We're in a Walmart and these people walked up to him. Hell, people even recognized me. I go, you must have been watching. You saw me. I was only on a few
Gosh, no.
episodes. Yeah.
Well, how
but,
could they forget anything that looks like that? Jeez.
Yeah. Well, they don't need trick photography. They got this to look at. But I wish the guys well and stuff like that. So maybe we'll have them on the podcast some other time, or they'll have us on. But Strange Curiosity Investigators, yeah, check them out on YouTube.
Definitely.
So I know that's not like your deal, but
well, I mean, a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm not as much.
Not as like me and Joe are gonna start something.
Yeah,
it's coming soon, and I know he's been kind of busy, but with Joe, it's like he's the third member of the podcast. He definitely is, because I think you told him that I was on the show, and he reached out to me. He's like, yeah, he used to work in radio with paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
We had this whole conversation about it. And we want to do like maybe a once a month, every couple of weeks podcast just on that stuff. I mean, it's coming, but I probably got to get with Stevie over here.
Yeah, going the wrong way again.
Yeah, I know. I always do that. To kind of give me some tips on getting set up, because he runs this show here. I'm just the one that brings in the viewers because of the looks. So,
Jeez. Hey, speaking of this time of year, Halloween time, if we're going to talk, we talked about Kiss earlier, but you realize it's the 28th, 44 years ago, the premiere of Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park.
Wow.
On NBC.
The highest rated show under Shogun. That's how high the show rated was. Shogun was number 1 that year. They were second.
I mean, you had it all. I mean, it's so bad it's good, though. It's so bad it's good.
I always hear Gene and Paul rag on Ace and Peter for, the demise of the band, but those two were sober. They still let it happen. So it's on them a lot too. So
I would have to say they can do all the blaming they want to, but they knew what was going on, and
they were getting paid, so they were cool with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. As long as the money kept rolling in, they were fine.
And we've had this conversation before. I didn't really know Kiss. I knew who Kiss was, but from that, I remember that movie being on, and I remember watching it. And I remember that my part I remember the most is Gene breaking through the Coke stand.
Yeah.
You're just thinking, oh my God, that dude is bad. I didn't know a Kiss song to save my life. But me and my buddies were talking about it at school, and they say, oh wow, did you see that mean looking dude, man? He went through that Coke, and you look at it now and it's like, guys, like paper.
Yeah.
But Gene, terrible. I mean, they were superheroes, man, and they were larger than life back then, and there was nothing like them. I mean, they were the biggest band in the world for a reason.
The concept was good.
But the Beatles meet the Hard Day's Night beats is Star Wars, as Paul says. Yeah.
But the concept of it was good with the superhero thing, and the story wasn't bad, but oh man, acting was terrible. But that's what makes it so much better, that you can sit there and look at it and be like, wow. I think
the concert scene when they do "I Stole Your Love," I think that's awesome. But you can tell, like when they go back to Peter, and he's not like like that. He's just like this.
He's
ticked off. You can tell it's not. Yeah, you can tell that's not him.
Yeah, well, no, the concert stuff. You talking about the concert stuff? Yeah, that is him. But when you look at him behind the drum set one time, he's
just like this,
and he's just like, you can tell he is ticked off. But let me ask you this:
but why would he be ticked off? He had everything, like you said.
He was ticked off at the band, dude.
He's always ticked off at everything.
Go back and listen to. What concert was it? It's Houston 1977 on the Love Gun tour. And I want to say it's after the second song. I think they did Ladies
Summit. You're talking about the Summit, right?
Summit, yeah. Listen, when they cut the song off, I can't remember which song it is, but listen in between songs. Turn it up. Put your headphones on or whatever. Turn it up real loud. Listen in between songs. And you can hear Peter complaining about everything. The spotlight guy, and look, Ace starts firing. You can hear Ace firing back at him, and Peter says, "Shut the F up, Ace." And Paul was like, "All right, if everybody would just," and Paul says this line a lot. Everybody would just loosen up. But when he says loosen up this time, he kind of looks like.
Oh, so it's on the video. Okay, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
that has the iconic "I Stole Your Love" opening.
Yeah, but
Every time I see that, I think about Joel Osteen preaching there now. It's just like, God, you think about all the sinning that went on backstage in the 70s with the Summit.
I'm
Were you
gonna
asking me? I'm sorry. We started something else.
I'm gonna rob. I was listening to another podcast that I listen to a lot, Podcast
dare
Rock
you.
City, and they did a which would you rather, and this was an interesting question, bringing up Phantom of the Park. All right, would you rather have been at the Magic Mountain concert or at the Animalize Uncensored?
You know my answer.
Animalize, yeah, because you're more of a you
But-
came along that
but
man,
that
I
was
would
just-
love to have been at Magic
But
Mountain.
they only played a few songs. They didn't play a full set, did they? At Magic
Yeah,
Mountain?
they played.
I don't
they
know.
played a set. I think they played a full
Oh, it was
set.
a Love Gun set. Okay.
Yeah,
No,
but I
dude.
don't. It was a free concert at Magic Mountain. Can you imagine being in that park that day?
Give me Uncensored Animalize. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, I mean
that was my
but
quote unquote first Kiss concert because that I watched. That like that's when I knew that's when they became my band. Is when I got that.
yeah,
I was
But
Motley, but when I got that, yeah, that changed my life. Like Phantom of the Park probably changed a lot of people's life.
yeah.
Not for the better, but
I can't, like I've told this story before. I left across the street at my school. I lived across the street from the school I went to. We had like the Fall Festival, and I was 5 years old. At that time, Fall Festival was like the banner thing of the year. I was like, oh, okay, I can see how many freaking dishes I can win from my mom that she'll never use in her life.
is that what you do with the nickel toss? On
Yeah, stuff like that. But so me and my cousin, we had to leave. We were like, all right, we're leaving now to get ready for Kiss Meets the Phantom. And I was like, holy crap. Because you didn't
Stevie, you didn't set your VCR? Oh,
Yeah,
wait a minute. We didn't have any.
This is 78, bud. That's
Rich
what
people had them, not us.
Couldn't DVR, we couldn't VCR. So if you missed it, you missed it. But years later, it's an interesting story though. Back in, let's see, was it 85 or 86? Let me see. May have been 87 because 87. I think we got our first VCR and got it for Christmas. And like the night after Christmas, you remember
87? Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
No, I'll take it back. 86.
My stepdad bought one in like 1981.
86.
That thing cost like $900.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't buy it.
I know it wasn't 81. It was 86, I think, because we got like the Rat home video that with all their videos and then some live stuff. But the night after Christmas, the 26th, it was a Friday night, and I think CBS at 11:30 would play like a movie of the week, late night movie of the week.
Phantom of the Park.
And I saw the commercial at the news. I just happened to be up, and I saw the commercial come on during the news.
Oh my God!
Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
You're running through the house, right?
I was like, "Where's the freaking blank tape?" So yeah, recorded that joker, and I played the heck out of that after that. I said, if anybody records over this thing, I'll kill them.
That's funny because probably around when did Smashes come out? 88.
88.
I remember seeing the advertisement for Smashes, and I saw, of course, what's video said sex, and everybody hated that. I thought it was great. And I thought it was kind of weird that Paul didn't have a guitar, even though he never played it. And I remember it's like I went to this record. I went to Musicland, and it was there. I'm like, oh my God! I was up in Dallas with my grandmother, and we were up there, and it's like, oh my God, I didn't know it was out. Of course, I saw the ads in like Circus Magazine and Hit Parader, and and I was like, oh wow! And of course, I got it, and I loved it because I still like that because they tried to make the classics more like newer Kiss. You know what I mean? Like, I still like that version of Love Gun where his voice it just fades out. It doesn't in the end. Dude, I like that because I listen to it all the time because we didn't have we made mixtapes where we got greatest hits back then. But I got back to San Antonio and I went to the Musicland in San Antonio, and I looked on the shelf and I'm like, I saw the Gene and Peter Kiss Meets the Phantom.
Yeah.
Oh crap! VHS. Grabbed it.
That copy.
It was like $10.
Yep.
Grabbed it. bought it, man. I played the hell out of that thing. I mean, I liked newer Kiss, but I liked going to the past too. That's like when that crap with Exposed was so great.
Oh,
This
yeah.
was like that too. And I remember watching that movie and like, hey, that's Jack Abbott, from Young and the Restless, Terry
Yep,
Lester.
Yep.
And
Wasn't the girl on Dallas?
I don't know. I've looked her up. I haven't been able to find
I think
anything
she
she
was
did.
on Dallas.
Deborah
She was-
Ryan or whatever.
Yeah.
But of course, but when they went and they finally came on and they did the I Stole Your Love, it was great. And
Oh, let me tell you something, dude.
what's the one where, are you ready for the real kiss?
One of the best parts is the first show, all the little special effects they do before when Ace comes out there and shoots the lasers out of his, and then
Paul with the eye, yeah.
Paul shoots out of the eye, and all of a sudden he gets Gene. That's some of the best stuff right there.
Yeah, you mean seeing that when you're like 8 years old? I mean, oh my
Right.
God,
Oh,
78.
man,
We were
here they go.
5 years old.
Yeah, I loved every minute of that. That I could go back, and then I think to me, and I'm looking up Deborah Ryan, but I'm not.
I didn't find anything on her. I didn't
The
see
only thing
anything
it
on her.
says up here is
Kiss Me, the Phantom.
American actress who appeared in a number of television shows and movies through the late 70s to the early 80s. She had a strong role in the 78 TV movie Kiss Me, the Phantom of the Park. She's 71 years old.
Nobody wanted to work with her after that. It's like, screw that.
It's got to be. Hold on. I'm pulling something up now.
Yeah, but Terry Lester had a career. So did
Terry Lester, yeah.
Who's that guy that played Devereaux? He's in a lot of stuff.
He's been in a lot of stuff. He was in there was a TV show. It's kind of after the whole Young Guns craze happened with the movie. They did Young Riders, a TV show on ABC, and he was like the guy that took care of him. And then he was in that Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. Hear No Evil, See No Evil.
Oh, with that beautiful brunette. God,
What's her name?
Man. I don't know, but I remember her naked and I was like, I love this movie. She was a Playboy Playmate at the time.
Deborah Ryan was in Simon and Simon.
Really?
Chips. BJ and the Bear.
Oh, wow.
The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo.
Ah, that was the BJ and the Bear spinoff.
Yeah.
Claude Akins. I was like, I love that one.
Police Story.
Police Story. Is that the one with Leslie Nielsen? Oh, that's Police Squad.
No, that was another one. This is a serious. Police Story is serious. The Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew Mysteries.
Ooh, Nancy Drew, babe.
And General Hospital.
Uh-oh.
And I was going to say, you should know this.
I didn't start watching General Hospital till like 3 or 4 years ago. I'm late to the party. Young and the Restless, though, I've watched since I was a kid.
I had to watch Young and the Restless.
But
guys like too.
But I was gonna say about Devereaux. There was a movie in the early 80s, still probably my favorite Patrick Swayze movie. It's called North and South.
Oh yeah, that was a miniseries, wasn't it?
Yeah, he played a Confederate general because it was about the war between the North and the South, and he played a Confederate general. Because I was like, I remember, I probably was more aware of that than when I watched Kiss Me, the Phantom. Go, hey, he was in North and South. Of course, I knew Terry Lester, but I love that movie. I mean, okay. Can I ask you a question? And I'm kind of stupid here. And granted, I haven't watched the VHS copy because it's probably packed away somewhere. What's the big difference between that and the Phantoms that they released on
Phantoms?
Kissology?
Okay, Phantoms. It's in a different order.
Okay.
The first time you watch it, if you after watching that so many times, and there's different scenes, there's additional scenes in there that you didn't see. But to me,
Phantoms or the part?
Phantoms. To me, the version we saw tells the story better. And another thing,
Kissology.
No, the original one, and the Phantom ones, instead of having the great 70s porn music in it, is replaced with music from the solo albums. Yeah, because I'm looking at the soundtrack up here.
Because of course I bought the one in the 80s. I did probably watch it.
Yeah, if you watch Phantom,
Kissology comes out in 2005. That's almost 20 years later.
Have you watched that version, the Phantoms version?
Yeah, and I couldn't tell, and I hear people talk about it, but I haven't watched in a long time. But I haven't compared the two though. But I get what you're saying about the music.
And like I said before, I listen to Podcast Rock City. So if you guys want to hear another good Kiss podcast, head over and listen to Joe and Joey, Lee, Sonny Pooney. They're all do a great job over there. But Joey Casado.
Are you sucking up to get him on the show, Steve?
No,
I know,
I'm not going to suck
kidding,
up
I'm
to him.
kidding.
But Joey Casado was talking.
But if you're
about
listening, no, I was kidding.
yeah, if Joey Casado, Joe, Lee, whoever y'all want to come on, Sonny will be more than happy to have you on.
I saw I was looking through my Audible stuff and I saw that he's got a book on Audible. I think I'm about getting
Joey.
it. Yeah, and he reads it.
It's his
So I'm
book.
thinking about getting it. Yeah. Looks pretty interesting. And Jericho does a forward.
Have you seen? If you look at the hardcover on Amazon and see how many pages it is, they joke all the time about they use it as a big door
paperweight.
Yeah.
Hey man, you got one shot to write a book. You might as well go for it, bro.
But Joey was talking about there's a guy, and I'm not sure if they're going to have him on Saturday night. Podcast Rock City will be doing it live. They do it live, and they're going to do like a watch along of
the two
Kiss Meets the Phantom. But this guy has cleaned up the footage and has somehow added new footage, and it's got a mix of the original version and the Phantom's version. So where it tells the whole story, they've got all the scenes in there. It should be interesting because he said, I haven't had a chance to look at the trailer.
Is this another Sam Loomis sighting, Stevie?
No, this is actually, that's not even mentioned.
Well, that disappeared quick, did it? Jeez.
Yes, it did. Thank God. I don't want to hear any more about Sam Loomis or any of that crap.
Damn, Stevie, tell us how you really feel.
God, it was nice at first, but the whole drama got old quick. And, everybody was saying, well, the drama at first, everybody was saying, well, the drama was the funnest for it, but then it got old real quick.
People love drama, man.
Oh yeah.
It's in every aspect of our life, from the entertainment, politics, everything these days is drama.
Okay. So let's see. Yeah. They're going to do I'm looking to see if they got the trailer, because they said they're going to post the trailer for that.
Let's check it out.
Commercial. Well, I don't see it up here yet.
Keep watching, boys and girls.
Yeah, keep checking it out, because I think it's going to be, one thing says Saturday. I think it's they're usually on Sunday nights, and I know we're plugging them a lot, but they do a good job. Saturday night live at 7 p.m. So if you don't have anything to do Saturday night, check them out.
Live. It's Saturday night.
It's Saturday Night Live.
All right. I want to talk about my favorite genre of horror movies next to probably the ghost, and that's zombie movies.
Ugh.
And you don't like zombie movies, Stevie?
They're all right. Some of them are all right.
You need to watch more of them, man.
Exactly what I want to watch.
My number 5, Night of the Living Dead. The original, the classic, still scary as hell. I remember my brother, I used to work at Blockbuster back in the 90s, and they bought the rights for it, and they had released it for like $5 VHS, and it was in black and white. And my brother was a little kid at the time, and I liked to mess with him. I go, that's a true story, right? He's like, what? And he goes, yeah, that's why it's in black and white. It's actual film. I didn't believe in it.
That's why it's in black.
Of course, he grew up to be smarter than me, and then I so jazzed him about that stuff. But my dad would do the same thing to me. Number 4, Dead Snow. This is like a German movie. It's based in like Germany.
It's a
I guess
like,
it is.
You sound like Butthead right there.
Yeah.
It's based in like Germany.
Well, it's because it's like all these like teenagers, like, well, I guess they're more adults. Like they're like, capping out and, doing it. Well, this one guy gets lucky with this really hot chick, right? I mean, this guy's a nerd, and they do their stuff in the outhouse and stuff. And so the zombies start attacking. That dumb bastard leaves the chick behind. Screw you.
Nice.
And he doesn't do it on purpose, but I'll catch up with you when the zombies start coming. But the zombies are Nazis, and I think the lead one's Hitler.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's like I like, I'm not I
Oh
like
my
cheesy
God.
stuff and everything, but it was pretty cool. And who doesn't hate Nazis? Come on. Number 3, World War Z, Brad Pitt.
I remember that one.
What's even scarier is fast zombies, when they run after you and stuff and they can catch you. Like that one scene where they're going up the wall and stuff like that. It's like a bunch of ants, man. I mean, Brad Pitt did. They were paired questions about that, but I was looking at the year they came. I came out like 10 years ago, 2013. I'm like, God, time flies. Another one, a good one, if you don't mind subtitles, is Train to Busan. It's a South Korean movie about zombies on a train. Now you think you're screwed out in the open. Imagine being on a train with there. It's really well done. And I've kind of found out that like zombie movies that the South Koreans make are a lot better than the ones they make here. And my favorite zombie movie of all time is the original Dawn of the Dead. That's the one where they remade it in 2004. Ving Rhames, and they're trapped in a mall. You've probably seen this one, and they're up on a roof and they're like shooting them like to kind of kill them. But what happens in the original Dawn of the Dead is that they're in the mall they haven't made. Of course, they got all the Orange Julius and Chick-fil-A they can have back in the 80s, and stuff. And they're doing pretty good. They're living fine. They got enough food, I guess, in the mall to make it for a while. Well, they get broken into by a bunch of like bikers and stuff. And it's cheesy and stuff. So they're going in there. And of course, they break the doors open. The zombies come in. And they got one of those old boys that is like, just, man, he's hell set on checking his blood pressure. So he's freaking down there putting the thing in there. And the zombies start coming after the guy. And he runs away. And okay, he's learned his lesson, right? Nope. Sure enough, comes back, check that, those little machines, check that blood pressure. All of a sudden, wow, they get him that time. And I'm like, why are you worried about your blood? I mean, it's like kind of like that.
Yeah, that's gonna save me. If my blood pressure's high, it'll save me from the zombies.
Yeah, it's like, and stuff. So, but those are some of my favorites. I like the remake of Dawn of the Dead. There's a movie that if you're not really into zombies, it's kind of a comedy. It's called Shaun of the Dead. It's pretty good. It's real good. And I think Zombieland with Woody Harrelson. I mean, one of the favorites is when Bill Murray's in it and he dresses up like a zombie, and you killed Bill Murray. Well, he's a zombie. And of course, it's got Emma Stone in it, so that helps out too. So I don't know if you want to go on, but I got 5 more, like my all-time favorite movies. These are more ghost stories than anything, kind of horror movies. Like I said, I'm not a slasher person. The Changeling, we talked about that before in our 1980. Yeah, George C. Scott. If you want a good ghost story, kind of how I think ghosts are, like something traumatic happened. That's why spirits stay behind. If you believe in that sort of stuff, George C. Scott, great. Sixth Sense, still one of the best. I see dead people. Did you see that meme I put on All Things Rock, Hard Rock? It was the Haley Joe Osment or whatever he was.
Oh God, what did
I see Deep Purple.
Yes.
That was pretty funny.
Yes, I saw that.
Number 3, not really a ghost story, zombie movie, but more sci-fi, I guess. But John Carpenter did it. Roddy Piper, They Live.
They Live, yes.
Like
I came here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
I think my favorite part is when he's trying to get that other guy to wear the sunglasses, and they're fighting over it. Yeah, or at the end when that couple's having sex, and that girl's on top, and she looks down, like when all the stuff goes away, he goes, "What's wrong, baby?" It's when they don't hide it anymore. But John Carpenter, They Live, one of God rest in peace, Roddy. Yeah. One of my favorite 80s wrestlers, is great. Number 2, The Others. Nicole Kidman. I love Nicole Kidman and anything she does. That movie is kind of like The Changeling. That what a lot happens that people don't, I guess, know that they're dead.
Right.
And I think that explains a lot with the EVPs that we got. That it's like, we get stuff and it doesn't make sense, but it's almost like there's 2 dimensions. I mean, we don't know. We haven't seen it. And I think my all-time favorite kind of movie like that, it's more fun. And I think a lot of my friends call me this, Ghostbusters. I still love that movie. Yeah. I know all that crap about Bill Murray's coming out. He's a real prick, and I hate to hear that. that all those people were talking about it. But I love Ghostbusters. I mean, I love the new one. When I don't know if
Yeah.
you've seen the new one, but what they did, that was awesome. It was a great send off. But yeah, Ghostbusters, I watch that every year. Some of my other stuff
the other night.
Yeah, some of my other stuff. My favorite Dracula is Christopher Lee. I just love those 70s. But of course, Bela Lugosi's the first one. And Dracula's great. And I think the best Frankenstein movie is Bride of Frankenstein. I remember the other one. I think the saddest part about Frankenstein is when that little girl he drowns and he doesn't mean to. That is so sad. That is so sad. But Bride of Frankenstein, when poor guy, when she sees him, she freaks out, and it's just like, God, the guy can't get a break. No wonder he terrorizes villages.
I think Young Frankenstein was a good one too.
I've never seen that.
Never seen Young Frankenstein.
I think I'll watch it this weekend because man, you talk about a babe. God, Terry Garr was hot.
Terry Garr was back then.
And I remember Terry Garr and Mr. Mom, and of course I was like, what, 10?
Yeah.
Thought, man, she's freaking hot. And she was in another movie Bill Murray was in, didn't get credit for, Tootsie. Wasn't Terry Garr in Tootsie?
Yeah, she was in it. She was in it.
She was the one he kept.
He was supposed to be going out with, and she was another actress.
Kind of how Travolta treated Cynthia Rhodes.
Exactly. He kind of.
You got these hot chicks just wanting for you, but you want that bitch that doesn't want nothing to do with typical guy.
Freaking Hoffman too.
Yeah, that's another guy that that they're doing all this judging you on how. I mean, I hate that they're. I mean, people make mistakes. People are. We're human, but people can't be human.
No.
And like I saw something today that really pissed me off. I thought about getting the book on Audible. Matthew Perry from Friends.
Oh yeah.
He did a story. He did something like, well, why is Heath Ledger and River Phoenix dead when people like Keanu Reeves are still alive? I'm like, you're a dick, dude.
That was a dick.
I mean, you could have said, yeah, why do some people live by others? Because I say that all the time. But I don't, why is that guy alive?
What has Keanu Reeves ever done to make
nothing?
Yeah, that's what I don't get.
That just shows you what kind of a dick that guy is. I
love Friends.
I do too.
I love the show. I love.
He was my favorite.
He was one of
was my favorite ones. He was funny.
He was so freaking funny. But he needs to take a look in the mirror and get his stuff straight before he starts talking about anybody else.
I mean, have you ever heard anybody talk shit about Keanu Reeves?
No.
I mean, granted, the guy's not Orson Welles as an actor or Robert De Niro, but he's good at what he does. He's great at what he does. Let me tell you this.
A guy that can play Bill S. Preston in Bill and Ted, and then come back like a year or two later and play the role he played in Speed.
Or Dracula. He was pretty good in Dracula.
Point Break.
Too. You ever see Dracula with Winona Ryder and Gary Oldman? He was good in that too.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's not that bad an actor where he can go from totally clueless. Parenthood. He played a clueless guy in Parenthood. And then to go play in this big time FBI agent in Point Break or Speed.
And he's not stupid. You know why? Because he didn't do Speed 2.
Exactly. He said,
and I love the John Wick movies. I mean, it's
as
just
much as look at the Matrix. I mean,
I never understood that movie. I saw the first one and I was so what?
But they were big hits, and I didn't get them either. But,
I know they were big hits, but I was like so confused. I never saw the other ones because I was so confused.
But look how diverse his acting is. I mean,
oh yeah. I mean, and it's like, why him? Why?
I don't know why he must have took a.
There's a lot worse people he could say that about than Keanu Reeves.
Evidently,
maybe he figured Keanu wouldn't say nothing. That's probably why.
No,
he won't.
Evidently, Keanu took a woman away from him back in the day, and he's still.
Is that what happened?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Oh, I thought you said okay.
That would be a good explanation.
Yeah, that would be. I would say shit about him too.
Well, it's not his fault. Maybe he took Julia Roberts away.
Oh, there's a story talking about that, about celebrity beefs. There's a story in Richard Marx's book where he had his run already. So it's kind of like the mid 90s when Shania took off. And there was remember that real big pushback against, that kind of music doesn't really fit, and he was on a panel with Brad Paisley, and Brad Paisley had just come out. And Brad Paisley said something along the lines of like, well, country's for real and pop, it has no soul. he said that right in front of Richard Marx. And of course, Richard Marx being a pop singer, he's wrote country and pop.
Yeah.
Took exception to it. So he was like, well, it's kind of interesting that somebody, comes out, their first album and he knows everything already and stuff. Pretty much a big FU. And of course, the media played it up. And then they had to rush to Brad Paisley. Hey, did you hear what Richard Marx said? Oh, I like Richard Marx. I was the one that bought his last album. Like, that, and he goes, I know that I wasn't selling well and stuff, but that guy's a dick. He said that. Richard Marx don't hold back. I mean, you think he's all Mr. Mullet, nice guy? This guy's got a, I mean, he's with Daisy Fuentes, so hey, he's doing something right.
If you ever follow him on like Instagram or anything like that, yeah, he doesn't hold back.
Yeah, he's I kind of looked at Brad Paisley a little bit different now because I always thought he was kind of genuine, but I don't know. I just think that's
Brad Paisley. I'll say this: I'm a big Brad Paisley fan.
Oh, I like him too, but
his song.
I think that was a wrong thing to say.
Well, yeah, I
pop
agree.
has no soul.
That was wrong for him to say that, but his songs are like tell stories, and
I know
he does a really good job. With me and my daughter were just talking about it today, so it's funny that came up,
and it's funny how he did those great jams with Keith Urban, and Richard Marx wrote a lot of hits for Keith Urban. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's just,
who else? You know who else wrote a big hit with Keith Urban? Two of the girls from the Go-Go's. No, two of the girls from the Go-Go's wrote one of his biggest hits.
Which one?
What was the
Somebody
name?
Like You with Nikki
Road. What was the name? It was Road.
Oh, Dirt Road or Black with a blacktop ends.
I think that was it.
That was like that was his first single.
Yeah, because it won an award with the blacktop ends. Let me see. Charlotte Cathy and Jane Weedland wrote that.
Jane's
song.
a real cute brunette, right? The kind of
she's going to get married too.
For the
so that's not it. That's not the one. Hold on.
I just remember when I liked Keith Urban, I kind of knew him when that song came out, but when he did that Somebody Like You and he was hanging out with Nikki Taylor, I go, that guy is not only pretty, he gets to hang out with Nikki Taylor.
Nikki Taylor was
life just ain't fair.
Oh boy. Nikki Taylor was something else, dude.
Is she the one that died or her sister?
Her sister did. Yeah. She was actually in a commercial.
The sister, right?
No, Nikki was in a commercial not too long ago. I hadn't seen her in a while. She looked really good. Let's see. I'm looking up here to see what the name was. But for the Grace of God.
No, I'm not familiar with that one. I probably heard it, but
yeah, #1 hit.
I play a lot of Keith Urban at weddings. I mean, he's very popular. Keith Urban's great on the guitar work. I mean, he's got a song called Texas Time. I love that song. It's country pop, and I like that. And I mean, they give Nashville that crap. Remember how Charlie Rich gave John Denver all that crap? It's like, come on, dude. The genre's big enough. Granted, I don't listen to it nowadays. But I'm not a big country music fan now, but it's a little too pop.
I'll tell you this. I'm seeing, and this is something we're gonna probably start doing is bringing Mallory on, like for a little segment each week for new music we should be listening to.
That's fine.
She's compiling some stuff, and she was showing me a guy tonight, and he's not bad. I mean, he's not that country that you're talking about these days. He is. There's a select few, and they're young up and coming guys that are trying to bring country music back to like it was. You're seeing a lot of these. It's sort of fading. That pop country. It's more pop than country. It's starting to fade away. Hopefully, and there's some out there that I can listen to, but this I don't call it country. But this guy, and maybe Mallory will come on and talk about him next week. But let's ask this question: worst Halloween candy?
Anything with coconut in it.
Oh, I agree with you know what else I didn't like? You remember those little? They were little like wax. They looked like little bottles, and they had juice on the inside of them.
Oh yeah, and those are. Yeah.
Oh,
They're like Coke
my
bottles,
mouth.
right?
Huh?
Coke bottles.
Yes, my mouth hurts just thinking about that.
And
Why
people
would
don't
you
like.
want to do that.
How do you feel about candy corn? I like it.
I like
myself.
candy corn.
I
I
do
love
too.
candy
People,
corn. My mom
people hate that, but I do. I like it.
during this time of year, my mom keeps a big can of a big glass jar of candy corn at her house. Every time I go there, I get her a handful.
Do you ever? I like licorice. I don't know if you like licorice, like Twizzlers and stuff.
It's okay, but I'm not
Yeah.
big on licorice.
I like, but I think my favorite are like, what are those peanut butter? I think they're more around Christmas time. Well, I guess they're like Reese's cups, the little ones.
Yeah,
I like those, and I like Reese's Pieces. I love peanut M&Ms. I mean, M&Ms in general, but yeah.
I like the. Gosh, what was they saying?
Did you ever get an apple as a prize?
Yes.
And they had to
we
look
get a
for
rock.
razor blades in them and stuff. And
There was one year. It was. I think it was in North Carolina, but they were telling you, people are going to put razor blades in the stuff this year. So
you hear all these horror stories.
Everything. Right? We had to check everything. And I was like, I just want to eat candy. And then my mom was like checking everything. We got to check everything. Don't you bite into that before. Don't you eat none of that candy before I check it.
And you realize they probably, if there was something, they wouldn't have found it because it was probably coated over the candy.
Yeah.
Like, didn't they used to go take them to get them x-rayed or something? They came out, well, that doesn't help. I mean, it's
kind of like, yeah.
It was just a more panic that supposedly was never happened. You know what I mean? That it was just, we blew it all. I mean, it's like anything. A rumor gets started, people believe it. They believe more of that than they do the truth. But it wasn't a thing. I mean, it happened here and there. But I mean, you can't be too careful. But I remember my dad going through mine and shit, he wasn't checking. He's eating it.
He was eating it, yeah. Look, it's just like you remember back in the day when the Tylenol, the cyanide in the Tylenol.
Oh, that was something, yeah. But,
yes, I was scared. I was like, every time I was sick or something, nope, not. You want some Tylenol? I was like, no, I ain't taking no Tylenol. I'll suffer through it.
And what's funny about that is that happened and they changed them to the gel caps. But there was a time, Stevie, we remember it. There were no childproof lids on anything when we were growing up.
Oh, you could get into anything.
Yeah. And I saw something, some guy was saying, I don't know worry about Halloween candy. Inflation's so bad. And drug addicts ain't going to share they put their drugs in your candy.
That's true, but there's always some sicko out there that would say, "Watch this, watch what I'm going to do."
Yeah, but it's like the satanic panic. It's just that whole one person tells something like that. Who's that girl that came out? She's some Southern Baptist. Who was it that was on there that she was the hocus pocus too? That you watch that you're going to get possessed by the devil. I go, what is this? 1984 Tipper Gore? That's one we need to do. We need to do the satanic panic. That'll be a fun episode.
Oh yeah, we need to definitely do that.
Yeah.
But all right. Anything else you got about Halloween?
No, I like it because I like to watch TV and there's all these like Travel Channel and Discovery. They have all these like ghost story stuff and watching this stuff for so long, I've seen pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if ghosts are real. Granted, I was an investigator for like 10 years. I've seen some strange shit. I'm more of a skeptic now than anything on everything. But there's something about when you get voices on there, you can't explain that. It's called the unexplained.
That's what kills me right there. And like I was telling when we did the episode with the brothers, the lady I work with was talking about they were hearing piano music in their house, and there's not a piano in there.
Oh yeah.
And hearing people walk up and down the stairs.
I told you that too, that when we did that house in Victoria, that we were doing that EVP and this house had no electricity. We heard a piano. It happens.
Yeah. So, I mean, something like that.
One of the creepiest stories somebody's told me, we'll leave with this. I did of course, everybody, when I was doing the ghost hunting thing, everybody had their story for me. And I didn't discount nothing because I've heard crap too.
Right.
I've been in my work building alone by myself and the time clock's right outside the bathroom. And you can always hear people outside when you're doing your business. 11 o'clock at night, nobody's in the building and you still hear that.
You still hearing stuff. Oh yeah.
But what my friend told me that, and I believe this too, is that his cousin, his mom was in hospice. She was about to pass away. And she kept talking, and he was like, "What's going on?" and stuff. So he put a baby monitor in her room, and this wasn't on a TV show. This is true story. So he put the baby monitor in there, and he could hear her talk. But he started hearing other voices too. That's what freaked him the hell out. See, it's that kind of story, but Stevie, it's around you, man. I mean, it's
well, you don't ever know.
and it's funny. It's funny with me. It's funny with me. I was doing it for so long. We'd do something it's just a ghost, no big deal. But when a few years ago we kind of called it quits, and we kind of did. We were working before COVID. We're on our maybe supposedly TV show, so we started investigating again. We got the old crew back together. I had done this in like 3 or 4 years. Shit started giving me the willies again. Because I'd been away from it so long. I'd been, and it was like, oh crap! Because we did this old church, this old hotel that had all this stuff in it. It was like haunted like hell, and stuff would start giving me the willies. I guess when you're away from it how long, I said you're just rusty,
right?
But it was kind of a thrill again. But I mean, I don't watch the Ghost Hunters, and because they're all pretty much the same. They all do the same stuff. But I like a good documentary. And there's supposedly a good one I didn't mention that's about the Annabelle horror. It's one of the sons that claims it wasn't a hoax, because a lot of people say it was a hoax, but he swears by it, and he's got pictures of it. I mean, it's I don't know if it's like a Blair Witch where they were doing it up, but
yeah,
I watched it. I honestly couldn't finish it because I don't like shit with demons and stuff, man. Regardless of what I'm wearing,
Yeah.
But I don't like I got enough bad luck on my own. I don't need to conjure anymore.
Same here, buddy. Same here.
But that's it. Halloween. It's funny. It's now you can actually look at the Thanksgiving decorations, even though they've been up before the Halloween crap.
Exactly.
And Tuesday, the candy will be on sale, so you can go out and buy some candy.
Everybody load up on your candy.
And you don't have to go check that because it's sold at the store,
And I'll say this. Halloween Ends came out, streamed a couple weeks ago. You can stream it on Peacock.
I haven't heard it's very good.
Everything. My daughter watched it, and it sounded like she was having a freaking wrestling match in there at the end, because she was like, "Oh my god," like that. But I saw the ending. I'm not going to give it away for people out there. As far as the movie goes, from what I've heard, it's not very good. There's not a lot of Michael Myers in there. So, everybody says it's like maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe of Michael Myers in the movie. So I'll trust them on that. It's not something I'd want to watch.
It's funny. There's so many sequels to it. I think I've seen the original like years ago.
Yeah, we actually saw it. My daughter watched the original the other night.
But it's like, we belong to Tom's group, the what was it called? The Chamber of Thrills or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff I post are just jokes, because I'm not, Tom's a real serious.
Yes.
Him and Joe were like, they're real connoisseurs of that stuff. And I remember seeing the stuff, and somebody posted something. I remember this came out 20 years ago. The LL Cool J was in one of those movies. Like, oh, I remember that. He was in the
Halloween. Yeah. Well, I went to
or something.
Yes. I went to see that in the theater because, what was the kid's name? The big tall, dark-headed kid. He played in Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck. They were like best friends.
Oh, the one looks like a young
Josh
Tommy Lee
Hartnett.
Jones. Yeah,
Josh Hartnett.
He looked like a young Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, he was in it, and then the girl from Dawson's Creek, that one that married Heath Ledger, was in it.
Boy, that's somebody that disappeared. Josh.
Yeah.
He just disappeared. That was a great movie, man. I like Pearl Harbor. Of course, Kate Beckinsale's in it. She's so thin you don't recognize her. Like, you don't think she's the same chick that was in Van Helsing. Like, she looks nothing like she does in Van Helsing. But she's in a ghost movie that came on TV. I think a British BBC. I don't know what it's called, but she is naked in that movie a whole lot. So I just leave it at that. If you want to do your research,
Kate
Beckinsale.
That's going to do it for
it's some TV show. Kate Beckinsale. Hey, did you hear about? You seen the joke about Kanye? I don't know what his name is. He got dropped by Adidas.
Yes, I did.
Did you see who his replacement was? Pete Davidson. Boy, that's cold.
That would be so wrong.
But he went from a billionaire. He was worth $2 billion to below that. God, I thought I was bad at gambling. Jeez.
That's what you do when you run your mouth.
Yeah, that's a sensitive subject, and
Exactly.
I see people defending him, and I don't get that. And that's
I don't
as
get
far
it
as I'll
either.
say there.
There's no.
See, that's something we can we look at things differently, but that's something we both can agree with.
There's no defense for that.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm sorry. You're not going to convince me of that. So.
Yeah. Sadly, there's a lot of people that believe like him, and that's what's scary.
Well, Kanye needs some help. I believe.
Yeah, there's something wrong with him.
There's been something wrong with him for the last 2 or 3 years at least. I think it's slowly got worse over time. But
I remember a few years ago. I remember one of my friends is a big Republican, and I remember Obama when he was talking about when he went up there to Taylor Swift and interrupted her speech, and they asked Obama about it, and he goes, Kanye's a jackass. And I told my buddy, you got to agree with him on that. Come on.
That probably got him some votes. And he
did. Yeah, but I mean, he needs some help, man. I mean, there's something. I mean, I think with him, there's people using him. And I think that, I mean, he honestly called out Nike or Adidas. He challenged them to do that. So words have meanings. I'm glad that some people, words actually have consequences. That doesn't happen always, but it's good. Hopefully he'll learn from this.
He probably won't.
I know. I try to look at good in both people, Stevie, even you. Most people anyway, even you.
That.
Yeah.
Appreciate that because I'm pretty bad. Pretty terrible.
Oh, yeah. You're just horrible. You're like Lemmy. I'm so bad, baby. I don't care.
So that's going to do this week on the final score. I'm starting to think about tomorrow night.
This is our final episode ever, Stevie. I'm sorry I brought up Kanye.
We're going to at least make it to 100. I hope.
How many episode are we on so far?
We are on 70. Let's see. I can't remember. 78. This is 70. Well, this will be 79.
So how many were it when I joined?
We were on 50 something.
So we done about 20 some.
Yeah, we done about 20.
Wow.
So
seems longer hanging out with you.
I know it's aged you a whole lot too.
Right. Had a full head of hair when I joined.
Yeah. All that hair's gone.
I had a full head of hair and I was 10. No.
Yep. So anyway, that's gonna do it.
Where can they find us, Stevie?
I'm getting ready to get there, Worden. Hold on. Just hold your horses. You got several in the background. Anyway, you can find us on our YouTube channel. Just look up On The Fly. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find us on our Facebook groups, That 80s page, all things rock, hard rock, and metal. And, of course, on the Fly. I'm not going to mess that up again.
I do. So, I mean, I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah.
But I'm the one that named it. So what do I know?
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's another group on there called All Things Rock, Hard Rock, and Heavy Metal. So I just took the heavy off. So metal,
Yeah, the heavy part.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
And they have a lot more people than we do. So.
And you can also find us in a podcast form on Apple, Spotify, Pandora. Actually, we just been checking out this goodpods.com. If you go on Good Pods and check it out, anywhere you go, it doesn't matter where you go, just do one thing for us is leave us a review. Leave us a 5-star review. Subscribe to YouTube. That would mean so much to us. It would help us out a lot. It's not anything you've got to pay money to do, although we will take donations. But
I was telling Stevie earlier that, before we met, I listen to podcasts all the time, and I was real bad about not writing reviews. Here we are. I was real bad about not writing reviews, and then I wrote one. I think the first one was Shout Out Loudcast. I wrote, and I mean, it does. Believe it or not, guys, it does help. It does help us. Yeah, if you take time to listen to it, I mean,
and if you enjoy it, like some of you say you do, leave us a review. Actually, we're doing pretty. We've increased over the last month. We've done a lot. We're doing a lot better. So hopefully we'll keep on doing better. And tell your friends,
tell your enemies. We don't care.
Yeah. If it's just like one of those sideshow freak acts, you want to look at our ugly mugs, I don't care. Just as long as you listen and tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. If there's a show idea you got, you can email me, thefinalscoreentertainment@gmail.com, or just send me a message on Facebook or Twitter. We're always open for new ideas. Next week, album wars. And it's going to be.
Stevie, you're going to be under the gun, man. You're going to be under the gun.
Yeah. Tears might be falling. Tears are going to be falling. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to end up being king of the mountain.
They're just secretly cruel.
It's not going to be thrills in the night for you, bud. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Heaven's on fire.
But I tell you what, man. We'll do it all while the city sleeps.
All right, guys. That's going to do it for tonight. You guys.
Any way you slice it, take a listen next week. We'll be back.
Hey, I could say burn, but I'm not going to do that one. Anyway, you guys have a great night and have a happy Halloween.
And high heels. Murder. See ya.